I want you to think about stories. The Odyssey, East of Eden, Harry Potter. Because we only hear them and we don't see them take place, should we come to the conclusion that they might not have happened in the first place? Can we ever be sure? If we tell the story every year for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, does it acquire a layer of truth?
He kept telling me to let his people go.
I'm not sure there's scientific evidence to support what he says.
I never planned to do it. I'm not a confident speaker or anything. It was all God's work.
This is a global telling prepaid call from
Moses, Israelite.
a Jew on Mount Zion is calling.
From This Jewish Life and WBEZ Promised Land, this is Seder, one story told plague by plague. I'm Jessica Lander. 3,300 years ago, give or take, an Egyptian pharaoh released all his slaves. They left quickly. They didn't even have time to bake bread. It cooked on their backs as they fled. They were led by a prince-turned-shepherd, a man who claimed to talk to God, who brought a series of plagues, who could part waters. Sounds pretty far-fetched, I know, but that's what he said.
Plagues just appeared, one after another. It was horrible. All the drinking water turned to blood, my prized cattle died, everything got really dark.
And this wasn't a normal occurrence?
No.
That's Omar, an Egyptian. He maintains that the country was beset upon by a series of 10 plagues. He claims he even has proof.
I had a whole field of crops right here, and they're all gone, all devoured by locusts.
And nobody followed up with you about this?
No.
For the last year, I've been talking to Moses, the 120-year-old man supposedly responsible for the plagues and for the mass exodus. It should be noted that Moses identifies himself as a Jew, a religious and ethnic minority that professes to be the chosen people, and who are often found to be doctors, lawyers, and rabbis. You know, intellectuals. Moses said that he worked with God to force Pharaoh to set all the Jewish slaves free, that they accomplished this by sending down plagues. It just seems so unbelievable. You know, you said you sent down hail, frogs, lice, all of these plagues. But I don't know. You understand, that's pretty hard for people to swallow, right? You know what I mean?
I get that. I understand it. But I was just doing the will of God. What he was telling me to do. He called all the shots. Look, you're either going to believe in me or not. But I know God sent the plagues, okay?
Moses would get like this sometimes, about the more unbelievable parts of his story. But I guess he was right. How do you explain this? I'm just not sure. Take the frogs, for example.
What about the frogs?
Like, you said God sent hundreds and hundreds of frogs into Egypt. But you understand, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I get that. But for me, it comes down to God is omnipotent.
I want to return to that first conversation Moses says he had with God. That conversation with the burning bush that led to the whole story. So I called my friend Julie, who studies Egyptian plants. So, what is the likelihood that a bush can talk to you? Is that even possible?
Nope. I've never heard of anything like that. If he said he talked to a burning bush, he's probably lying. Or on drugs.
So we attempted it. My producer David and I bought a bush. We set it on fire, and waited, and waited. But God didn't speak to us, not even a whisper. All we could hear was the crackle of the flames as the bush turned to ash. I guess at this point I'm finding it pretty hard to believe Moses' story. You know, it's like you said you just came upon a burning bush and it started commanding you to do things, but we tried this. We couldn't hear anything.
I don't really know how it works either. Maybe God only talks through Egyptian bushes or only when the Jews need liberating from Egyptian rulers.
Yeah. God seems to be at the center of this whole story. If only I could find him. I tried. In addition to burning a bush, I talked to rabbis, visited Israel, wandered around temples, but I had no luck. That brings us to Pharaoh, the supreme ruler of Egypt, who claims he knew Moses as a kid, that they used to ride chariots, get high, hang out. That's it. No talking to God, no plagues. This is a recording with a high priestess of Osiris speaking to Pharaoh back then.
Now, Pharaoh, did you ever see Moses converse with any plants?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You never, not once, knew that Moses had special power?
No, ma'am.
What?
So if Pharaoh didn't believe Moses, are there other Egyptians who did? Maybe God really did send down 10 plagues. Maybe Moses really parted the seas with nothing more than a wood staff. Maybe the reason why millions of Jews all over the world gathered tonight to tell this story is because it is indeed true. And then there's the Miriam call. Next time on Seder.